Before I try to paint a picture of what the United States would look like without police, I want to take you down my line of logic so you can understand how I arrived at this conclusion. See, it all started back when I was younger. I was very, very pro-police. I live in a small town. Our sheriff is elected. Almost every single one has just been an outstanding gentleman. Now, I've been very, extremely pro-police right up until COVID-19 happened. That was difficult, I think is a good word to say it. The problem is they, not in this area, but like 30 minutes down the road, they were literally arresting people for being too close to each other, forcing people to wear their masks, forcefully shutting down businesses, and that put me for a spin. It put me on my head. It changed a lot of my beliefs. I didn't really know what to think after that point. I was just kind of open up for suggestions, and I didn't really know where to go. It put me on the edge. I don't know if I'm pro or anti-police, so that's where I was at. Then BLM happened, and I got really upset at first, because I'm like, they're literally destroying shit, and nothing's happening. Where are the cops to go in there and just stop this? That also changed another one of my beliefs, because I seen the BLM, they were getting acknowledged by the government, they were pushing their message out there, and no one was stopping them. I'm like, well, hey, why can't we do that for gun rights? And I made a video, which probably shouldn't have made, but I did, saying that, hey, you know, if you want to fight for your gun rights, we should take notes from them, because their message is very effective, and it's working. And I thought strongly that, yes, doing exactly what they're doing will get the government's attention, and we'd be able to make a difference. And then some very smart individual got a hold of me and explained it to me logically. It was a very long conversation, but I'll just hit the main point. They are able to get away with it. As I was saying, a very smart person got a hold of me. Their logic was extremely sound. It was like an hour-long conversation, but the gist, boil it all away and all the proofs, because we're in a 5-minute video, 10-minute video. The BLM was able to get away with that because they had the propaganda machine behind them. They're out there fighting racism. That will not work for us unless we are willing to go out there unarmed, stand arm to arm, and let federal agents kill several of us. This way, we could show the world that, hey, we're fighting a government that's out of control. So unless there's a bunch of people that are willing to martyr and sacrifice themselves, it's just not going to work. And they got to do it completely unarmed, otherwise it's showing violence, and it removes our message, and we'd get spun in the propaganda machine as domestic terrorists, and it would make things worse. It would not make things better. I'm like, okay, that totally makes sense. Still cut the video up just because it's out there, and hey, you know, maybe it'll strike an idea in someone else that's better, that can come up with a better plan to actually make a change. But, so that happened. So then I was really leaning towards, you know, hey, what if we did get rid of the cops? Like, all enforcement agencies just gone. Because somebody had convinced me that they're unconstitutional, and it kind of made sense. Like, what they were saying, I was starting to buy into it, I guess. And, again, somebody with cooler heads had spoken with me, and they're like, so what would the world actually look like without police? And so I laid it out, and they're like, yeah, exactly. So, let me describe it. If tomorrow we wake up and all law enforcement, any sort of enforcement agency, the ATF, FBI, everything, like 100% was just gone. And, I mean, magically, like, I'm not talking about a bunch of people lose their jobs and then they get angry about losing their jobs and they start bringing up the crime level to prove that they're relevant. Like, just gone, no consequences, we're in the same exact world, except now they're not there. Yes, in a small town, things wouldn't really change. We do our own self-protection. We're basically self-reliant. The cop is just there to handle, like, say, my tree falls on the neighbor's car. There needs to be an official police report to go to the insurance company to prevent insurance fraud. Say, for example, somebody breaks into this store. They are going to start a police report, put it out on their system, so if any of the guns pop up, we can possibly recover them. That's pretty much their job here. And it would work fine for a little bit, well, until my tree falls on the neighbor's car, or somebody breaks into the store, or there's a fire at the gas station and they need an official person to go in there and determine it's not arson. They wouldn't get a paycheck, an insurance paycheck. I wouldn't get an insurance paycheck. The insurance would have to come up with their own policing force or official people to go and do these things. So, okay, that would be covered. I mean, in the short term, we'd all get screwed. But ultimately, they would make their own little agency, and they would start going and putting official rulings on exactly what's going on. Now, say my tree falls on the neighbor's car and I don't have insurance. Well, that's like a whole nother ball of wax. I mean, are we supposed to operate on the honor system at that point? Do we just have a fist fight? Does he have the right to come and kill me now because I can't pay him for his $50,000 car that I just destroyed with my negligence? What if I cross the center line and I kill a family of kids? How does that all work out? Now, I understand that the police just write the tickets and make an ultimate determination and then it goes to the court system, but they're also taking a record. So let's say I cross the center line and I kill a family and we both go to court and we're arguing about what exactly happened, and I have my own little photos twisting the story I want, and he's got his own little photos twisting the story he wants. Well, the cops would typically be there to be a neutral force, a neutral party to take pictures of the whole thing so the court can properly determine which way it should go. But instead, they'd have to sift through my version of the story and my photos of the accident if I'm still alive. And the other family's photos of the accident, because otherwise, like, I could go across the center line, kill that family, if no one's there to fight on their behalf, and then I go in and the only person who knows the story is me, because I said it, well, then I'm going to win, because there's nothing there to debate me, or call me out on it, or be like, no, that's not true, we actually have photos right here. You can clearly see how your car crossed the center line. We also did an investigation on your car, and your car was totally fine, and then we took your blood alcohol level, and you were shit-faced. So, the real story is, you were shit-faced, and you crossed the center line. The story you're trying to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury is completely 100% false. And that's where they're supposed to be there, like, they're supposed to be the mediator between two parties. So that would kind of suck. We'd have a lot of problems with that because we wouldn't have a mediator between two hostile parties. You know, they would just have to go hostile head-to-head, whether that's in court or on the street or wherever. But, you know, not really that big of a deal. So, you know, the whole police thing still kind of makes sense. And then he's like, well, okay. What about, like, Wall Street, where they can't protect themselves and they have buku money? What do you think's going to happen there? I'm like, well, you know, they're probably going to get their own private security, and they're probably going to expand out because other people will want to be under the umbrella of private security. Ultimately, they could make their own police force, and their political will could be just, because who's going to stop them? They have their own private police. They can put their will out on anyone. Anybody that doesn't want to be under their umbrella won't get their protection. Therefore, they won't be following their will. Or like Elon Musk could make his own private police force, because they're just too big. And whether or not you want to believe it, because I know their main argument is, if rape wasn't illegal tomorrow, would you go out and rape people? And that's a stupid logic fallacy, because it doesn't have to be like that. I can jump on my YouTube channel right now and I will see threats against me. I've had people call the store and give threats. I've gotten text message threats. The threats will still be there, which will make powerful people nervous because they can't protect themselves. How are they supposed to know that there isn't somebody across the way in a bell tower with a sniper rifle? They're going to make their own security. And because they have the money to do more or less anything they want, they're going to make a large security, and then they're going to probably come to the idea that, hey, if I make an extremely large security force, I could literally switch the political system. So what I'm getting at here is if our current, now I'm not saying our current police force is perfect. There is definitely an argument to be had that every person that serves on the police force should have to be voted in. And there are several arguments to have that they should be throttled in a different way by the court system. Because if they're failing miserably, the people that are supposed to regulate them and keep them in check would be the court system, which means the court system is failing, which the court system is constitutional. So saying that they're just not constitutional, period, doesn't make sense. They should be regulated by the court system. So it wouldn't really be a failure on the police, it'd be a failure on the court system. That's what would need to be addressed next. So basically, they would make their own political system, making our government illegitimate. If they don't have anyone to stand there and enforce their will, but there's this private security, private police force, call it what you want, to enforce their will, unfortunately, we will become Mexico. And that is the proof right there why just eliminating the police isn't going to work. Because that's what they did in Mexico. Their police force is all private. Do you want to be like Mexico? Is that your ideal living situation with just cartels and criminal organizations running the government? The government's just there to go on in front of the TV and look pretty. They don't have any real say in what's going on. So if you have a grievance, now you need to complain to the cartel instead of the government. Not my ideal living situation. So what I was thinking the world would look like, or this country would look like, if all the enforcement agencies just evaporated overnight, Mexico. There doesn't need to be any proof or anything like that. That experiment already happened. That's called Mexico. If that's where you like your living situation, if that's how you would like to live, then yes, pro, no police. If you like America and the way things are right now, I would probably stay on the side of pro-police. Now, I'm not saying this logic is infallible or it's completely rock solid, but it's true. Mexico already did that, and things didn't work out very well for them. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope this inspired ideas of other conversation. If you'd like to help support the channel, because I'm completely fan-funded, because I'm demonetized for like another 2 weeks. Hopefully only in 2 more weeks. Check out my Patreon. I'll have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, whether or not you buy what that actual link is for, and a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Why do you gotta be such a heartless little brat?
If I am such a brat, then why don't you spank me right now, Daddy, and show me what a bad girl I have been and teach me a lesson.
Okay, I might have been overreacting a little bit, Lacey. I love you. I'm never gonna trade you in.
I love you too.
It's not the action I wanted, but it's the action I can get.